Hello and welcome back to the Live Rally Game Podcast. My name is Steven Stewart, and we're here today for more Surviving Reelfoot, the one, the only, the last interview of the season, part 2, featuring Bra.
Wow.
Bra, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's a good day. How's it going with you?
Doing well. I'm about to go on vacation as well. So this is so tomorrow I'm on a plane. So today is like knocking out all the remaining things, and
Nice.
I'm excited to finally have practically finished your entire season, but we still have some important story to talk about.
Okay, let's do it.
So we left off at the first immunity challenge. You have your first immunity challenge with your Orange Anata tribe. How does this? Well, your tribe's going to lose, but how does this challenge go for you overall?
Okay, so you got to refresh my mind. What was the first immunity challenge?
The first challenge was the man down challenge. This is where you have to carry a person on a stretcher through a lot of legs. You are in the ball balancing portion with Jessica.
Yeah, I'm not happy. I'm not happy at all. Okay, so you want to know about the challenge? I'll tell you about the challenge. All right, so I'm assuming the viewers know the basics of this challenge, that you've been talking about it with everybody. But here's my issue with the challenge. I need to preface this. Can I jump ahead and talk about what was said about voting me out before we talk about this challenge? Even though I wasn't voted out on this challenge. Okay, jump ahead. 3 challenges, 3 votes, whatever. It's time to vote. They're picking me to vote out. And their statement to me was, we've got to vote out the weakest link. Okay. All right. You got that? Mm-hmm. That's important that you hear that before we go back and talk about this challenge, because this is the challenge. This one and the other and the next one are the 2 that I really want to focus on based on that statement. Okay. Mm-hmm. So back at this challenge, we were so far ahead. They hadn't even left the starting block when our Carry the Man team got all the way up to the first part of this last section, the toting the balls on the paddle. Okay. That the other tribe hadn't even left the starting gate yet. And it's about a half a mile away. And we're there. We're ready. Jessica had the ball. And she could not get it to me. She couldn't get it. Kept dropping it. I know there's a learning curve on this. I know it's hard. I was worried. I wanted to be at the puzzle, but Allison said she wanted to do the blind part of the puzzle. And so I'm like, okay, I'll do wherever. So they put me here with the ball. I was worried about carrying the ball because I wobble when I walk because of my hip replacements. And I was concerned if that would do the balance bad. Thank goodness, when Jessica finally did get it to me, I didn't have any trouble carrying my leg of it. I went straight through one time. I was done. But Jessica, it took her so many tries to get it to me that the other team totally caught up and was passing us when she got the ball to me. Okay, so I carried the ball, didn't drop it once, took it straight over, put it where it needed to be. I was feeling good. Okay, so the rest of that challenge, we did okay. We didn't complete it. We didn't win. I mean, we completed it, but we didn't do it in time. We didn't win, so we had to go to tribal. Okay, but I just wanted to talk about that one part because they said they voted me out because I was the weakest link, and I wasn't. So, what's your next question?
So you are going to the first tribal council, but the tribal council is not till the following morning. Talk to me about the strategies and the scrambling that you were doing that evening and that night.
There was a lot of talk going on, a lot of discussion. And it was, I think, going to be put on Colby, if I'm not mistaken. And Jay West got crazy. I don't know what was going on with Jay West. I love Jay West dearly, but he got crazy that night. And he started going around trying to stir up stuff. I think he thought the vote was on him. I'm not real sure, but here's the kicker. This is what got me involved. Okay. He started telling people that I was saying I wanted to go home. that I didn't like this and I was tired and I wanted to go home. That's what he started telling people. I'm like, you're crazy. So when somebody told me that, I'm like, And I don't get fierce very often. But Jay West even said, I like seeing fierce Deb. But I went and grabbed him and I said, no, sir. You are not going to be telling people that lie. There is no time in the game that I would say, I want to go home. I will never quit a game. I love this game. I respect this game. I'm not walking away. And how dare you tell people that? And I think that's what turned the tide. At that point, Aliana got with me and said, I think I got a way that we can save you, because it wasn't right that he was saying that. And at that point, she said, we want to save you and Colby. So we turned it around and voted Jay West. So that was what happened on that one. That's why he went home first, pretty much because he started running around telling people that I wanted to go home. That's my understanding of why he went home first.
So if Jay West hadn't said anything like that, and do you think it would have been Colby who would have been out first, or would you have been out first?
It would have been one of the two of us. I'm not sure which one. That's a very good question. I'm not sure which one. Probably me, because they're just looking at tribe strength, I think. But I'm glad they saw through that, and that I was never the weakest on the tribe, never. But anyway, yeah, it would have been me or Colby.
Were you pushing Colby's name?
Yes.
Did you have any conversation with them that round, or is it pretty much kind of the awkwardness, like we're both saying each other's name, we can't really talk?
Yeah, I never really had conversation with him until after we started talking about the time the codex was playing into everything, and but he didn't talk strategy with me until we came up on the second vote for our tribe.
I'm curious. So you end up voting with Chad, Jessica, Allison, Aliana. Were you seeing that as a tight group before at that point, or is that something that you kind of saw later on at all?
I saw it as a good group of four. I didn't see it as all that tight, but I saw it as a good group of four. And I wasn't sure how strong it was at that point. I just knew that, yeah, they were working together. But there were a lot of people working together and a lot of people working with different people. So.
And so did you know that it was going to be a 5-4 vote? That doesn't mean that close?
No. They just told me to vote Jay West, and I said, okay.
So were you surprised that Juan and Andrew and Colby were all blindsided in the process?
Yes, I was. I think if they had come to me and said, let's vote someone on that type 4, I think we could have done it. But it just seemed like I was really surprised that they weren't voting with Aliana and Allison and Jessica and Chad. They seemed to vote with them every other time. So I was really surprised they didn't vote with them that time. I really thought it was going to be probably 6 or 7 voting Jay West out. I really did.
So was Jay West your ideal first boot from your tribe?
No, Jessica would have been my ideal first boot.
Okay. So if you could have had a pecking order of how the votes win, Jessica first, who would come second?
Allison would have been second, because again, she kind of ran the order of how we were going to do the challenge. And she said that at one point she said that she was going to do the blind part when I had said I wanted to do the blind part, and then she didn't do the blind part. She did the puzzle part, if I remember right, like the guide of the blind part. And so I think she would have been second in my book, because I think we lost because of that. Mainly we lost because of Jessica. If we'd have had that good, 10 or 15 minutes to work on the puzzle, we wouldn't have had any problem with the puzzle.
So before Tribal Council, you give your immunity idol piece or the beads to Juan. Can you talk again through that decision process and why Juan?
I was scared I was going home, and Juan had been nothing but wonderful to me. And I felt like he and I had a good connection. I didn't know if he would vote for me or not, but I felt like he and I had a good connection, and I wanted him to have it. I liked him a lot.
So, one thing I remember watching you in the tribal councils is you count the votes on your fingers as they come, which I love because that's what I do when I watch the TV show as well. So
That's what we do at home.
It's like I do that too. So
we do that at home.
Talk me through your thoughts and feelings as you're watching the votes get revealed.
I'm like, yeah, nervous, but then, oh my gosh, I'm safe. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was exciting.
So you survived that first vote, 5-4. Jay West goes out. What's the fallout from this tribal council for you?
Did you see that? Did you see this part?
Oh, I missed that.
Did you see this part where I wait? Okay, when I do the counting, the person who gets voted out, whatever hand they're on, they get waved. So I'm sorry. What was your question?
What's the fallout from this tribal council back at camp?
There really wasn't much,
Mhm.
at least not that I picked up on. There didn't seem to be much fallout at all. It was kind of resolved.
So talk to me about one. Did you ask for your bead back after this tribal council?
No, I need it. I knew if I wanted it, he'd have given it back to me. But I figured I was going to be the next vote the next time we went. So I just went ahead and left it with him.
Even though Juan voted for you this tribal council?
Yeah, I still liked him. I felt like he had to. I really think that he felt like he had to vote me to be in the right numbers. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And talk to me a bit about Aliana. Aliana, you said, was kind of your lifeline here. So were you kind of going to Aliana and say, hey, ride or die, let's do this? Or what were your conversations with Aliana?
Oh, yeah.
She saved you here?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I was 100% with Aliana at that point. She had saved me, and I felt good about it. And again, I thought that Colby was in trouble too. And so I think at that point was when I started talking with Colby some. But yeah, but Aliana I trusted her 100% at that point.
Now, you're in this majority of 5-3. And did you think like, hey, this 5 of us, let's just stick together and write it out? Was that a conversation being had?
Yeah, that's what I thought was happening. I really did. I thought that was happening. But at the same time, I was also realistic to say if we got to vote again, there's no way they'll vote out one of the guys. I just didn't think they would. It's a tough place to be, being the age I am and with the situation I have with my hips, I understand, but I was hoping to be in a tighter grouping.
Mm-hmm.
But I do understand. I just didn't like their reasoning.
So you have your next immunity challenge. This is Hot Pursuit, where you run around in a circle trying to tag the other tribe. How was this challenge for you?
I don't even remember that challenge.
This is one where the tribe is carrying the snake, and you're racing around trying to catch the other
snake.
The
snake! Oh, the snake! Oh gosh, that was awful. We had the best plan though. We had a fantastic strategy that I don't think anybody could have beaten us at that point. It was the people who knew that we were not going to hold on to that snake very long immediately dropped out instead of slowing down the snake. I don't know if you saw it, but that's the first thing we did. As soon as they said go, 3 of us dropped out. Boom, done. And the other 4 just took it. And because we weren't slowing them down, they were able to just take off. And the other tribe kept their people in too long. So we were able to catch up because their slower people slowed them down.
So you win this challenge. Anything else to note to talk about before we get to the next challenge?
I'm sorry, what's the question?
Anything strategy-wise you want to talk about before we get to the third immunity challenge?
No, everything just kind of rocked along because we won. We were happy. We didn't do much strategizing or talking at that point. Everybody was just kind of kumbaya, as far as I could tell.
So the third immunity challenge, this involves the tribes tossing beanbags onto a platform you were holding up. And then once all the beanbags are there, I think there's a puzzle or something else that happens. Talk me through this challenge.
Okay, so first thing, they were concerned about me being able to climb up on the table. But I could do it. It wasn't a problem. And then we had to toss beanbags until we landed one or went through all the remaining beanbags. And we had to hold the beanbag steady. The rope steady. And I shined. I shine like a silver dollar, freshly minted. I mean, it was like I was nailing those bean bags. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I was doing this. This was great because I'd had such great success on the other challenge. And then here I am on this challenge. I mean, boom, boom, boom. I hit that thing. My bean bag stayed on. Then it came down to the last bean bag. I had the last bean bag and I was, ooh, please don't knock any off. I tossed that thing and just perfect. Chef's kiss. It was awesome. What can I say? All right. So that was phenomenal. And I felt really, really great about that. So I was sad when we lost it. There must have been a second part to it. Was there a second part? Yeah,
I
that's
think
where
a puzzle or some sort. I don't recall.
But I was not the weakest link, may I say. Again, I say I was not the weakest link. But this is the one I got voted out on. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you lose the challenge. You go back to camp. Walk me through what happens.
Aliana comes up to me and says, Deb, I'm sorry. I said, it's me, right? She said, yep. I said, okay, I understand. And then she looked at me and said, because we've got to keep the tribe strong and you're the weakest. And I said, what? She said, you're the weakest. I said, wait a minute. I'm not the reason we lost either of those challenges we lost. I'm not it. Jessica is it. She is the reason we have lost both of those challenges. And nothing. She just said, I'm sorry. And I said, okay. And I talked it up to everybody I could. Guys, I am not the weakest in this group. I'm not the weakest. Jessica caused us to lose both of those challenges. And I love Jessica. Now, don't get me wrong. I am not mad at Jessica at all. Not at all. I am mad at the tribe for saying that was the reason they voted me out. And that's where, I still have some bitterness over this. I really do. Come up with some other reason. Say you're old, say you're overweight, say you're slow. I'm okay with that. Don't tell me I'm the weakest link when I was clearly not. And everyone who watched any of that knew I wasn't. So, I was not happy. I made it very clear I was not happy. There was nothing I could do.
So was the best plan at that point try to push the vote on Jessica? Was there anything else you're trying to do?
I tried to push it on to Jessica. The guys, I think Colby was fighting for me. I was it was amazing how he was working for me, and he really tried hard to keep me in. So I just kept pointing it out. But the tight four wouldn't even acknowledge that I was not the weakest link. They just kept saying that was the reason. So, but then I've come to find out that they were in a good alliance and they weren't going to vote Jessica out. So,
yeah, you just called them the tight four. At what point were you realize like, oh, this is a solid alliance? That makes sense.
I think somewhere during after the second immunity, when we won it, something about it there was when I started seeing it. And I started seeing, but I thought I was in it until Aliana was straight with me and said, it's you. And I appreciated that. And I still think the word of Aliana. I appreciated her coming to me and telling me and not hiding it. But I started seeing it after we won that second immunity challenge. I started seeing how they were always together. They were always talking. And it seemed like they were controlling what other people did. I think that's the best way to put it.
So were you trying to persuade Juan, Andrew, and Colby, say, hey, the four of us need to make a stand here?
Yes, I did. And I said, the four of us, we can fight this. I'm not the weakest. Please, let's relook at this. And they're like, Colby's like, I'm trying. But it was kind of almost like they had stopped talking to me. They were afraid of being on the wrong side of the vote, I think. I think the type four just worked the rest of them so carefully. And they were very, very creative in how they did it. And they were very good at just making the guys think that they were part of it and then just picking them off. It was just so clear. They just picked them off. And they were good. That's what I'm saying. I'm not mad at any of them for their gameplay. Their gameplay was awesome. The tightness of their alliance was unbelievable, and there was no breaking into it.
Yeah, so I'm curious about, like, was there an attempt to use the beads for an actual idol? You have your bead. Was there any chance that anyone else was willing to use their beads to save you?
No. Nobody was willing to give up beads because it was so early in the game. That, you know, it's hard to give up the beads knowing you're giving up your own bead, your own 1/3 of a chance of making it that early in the game. And it really was early in the game. And so I don't fault them for that either. I wish they had just realized what was happening while I was there, and we could do something about it, but they didn't. And Colby tried to tell them, and they wouldn't listen. So what can I say?
Yeah, so you've talked a lot about how, like, you know, you had a good relationship with Aliana. I think Aliana, I believe Juan, and those are the two players in this tribe that you had the strongest connections with. Allison, Jessica, and Chad. How are your connections with them at this point?
Not at all. Not at all. I thought it was a little stronger than it was, but when I look back on it, I realized that Chad would talk to me some. Jessica and Allison, they didn't talk to me much at all.
Because generally when I feel for live games, when we say you are a challenge liability, for the most part, it's code for we're looking for an excuse to get you out, and we're going to use this excuse because it's the generic catch-all excuse to vote you out, right?
Yeah.
That's always been my take on that.
And that's exactly what it was. Mm-hmm.
And so, would you prefer?
I was going to say, I believe they believed it to a degree. I believe they believed it to a degree, except they would not get rid of someone in their type 4 to keep me in, even though I wasn't the weakest. I was the second weakest. I was the weakest that wasn't in their type 4. That's basically it.
So, looking back on the 2.5, 3 days you're on this tribe, is there something you think you could have done differently to change your fate leading up to this point?
One of my coworkers came up to me yesterday and said, "Mitchell, why didn't you backstab? Why didn't you backstab?" And I'm like, well, it was so early and I didn't really think about it other than just telling the truth, you know, that I'm not the weakest. But there really wasn't any backstabbing to be had at that point.
Who would you backstab?
Who would I backstab? I don't know. So I told him, I said, "You need to sign up." He goes, "I'm not doing that." I said, "Then hush."
I mean, go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay. I do believe that, and I'm just being honest, you know, from my heart, I do believe this is not the game for me anymore. I used to think I'd be great at Survivor, but I don't think I have that social knowledge. I think of myself as very social, and I've done well in other games I've done, but this one really blew me away. And I think I need to do something more along the lines where it's not the social, it's about me and myself. I'm looking at, I don't know if you've heard, I'm sure you have, of Barefoot and Afraid. Have you heard about that one? That's the one I want to do, because it's me against myself in the wilderness. I don't have to worry about being voted off. It's can I make it? And I think that's more my style.
So remind me, Sensation, the game you played before Reelfoot, that's a Survivor style game, correct?
Yeah. Yes, I played it twice. Yes.
Okay.
I came in halfway. I was 6th out of 12 and 7th out of 14.
I mean, that's pretty solid right there.
Yeah, I thought I was pretty good game player. Well, they just really did a good job.
So I think a couple things. First, I think there is luck in Survivor, right? You know, you take a player like Tony Velachos, he still goes out pre-merge in one of the 3 seasons he plays, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, I think you see people who play a lot, even as Allison, she's played a lot of games. She's seen a range of placements all throughout those games. You can argue that she's a really good player.
She is.
And so I think there's that aspect. I also think Reelfoot is a little bit more unique in terms of live games, in terms of how hard the elements are compared to some other games in terms of length and food situation and the sleep situation. So you have that too. And I do think there is an element of practice, right? You'll go in, if you play a game like Reelfoot, you can go into it different, learning from what happened, and you'll play it out differently. And who knows what will happen as a result.
Right. And I do the length of it, the food, the outdoors, sleeping outdoors, none of that bothered me at all. I relished in there. That was me. I love that. I love the wilderness. I love the survival aspect of it. It was a social where that connection wasn't there. And that's part of the luck. It really is part of the luck. There were people who knew each other and knew each other well that clicked together real quick. And, I wasn't part of that. And so that was a luck thing. It just happened that there were people who knew each other and ended up together on a tribe. That happens. And I know that. But I didn't have any of, I knew the one person on the other tribe, Samantha. That's the only person I knew, as we said last time. If I'd made it to merge, I don't know if Samantha and I could have made something happen. I don't know. You never know. And yeah, that's part of the luck. It does. It hits hard sometimes.
Have you heard of games based off the mole?
I have. I don't know much about them.
So I'll pitch it to you real fast. So a group of players compete in challenges. This is not outdoors at all, but the challenges can be outdoors. But it's not a deprivation style game. But you compete in challenges, and if you're successful, you have money to the pot. Great. The problem is someone's a saboteur. And your goal is to guess who that saboteur is, because they're going to sabotage you in challenges. At the end of every round, you take a quiz on who you think that person is. Least correct, eliminated. Continue to do that until you get to the last couple of players, and then one player walks home with all the money after hopefully identifying who that saboteur or the mole is.
Okay. Yeah. That sounds cool.
It's because at the end of the day, it's all on you and your intuition.
Okay, so you think that I would be a good fit for that?
I think you'd have fun.
Okay, I'll look into one. Yeah.
So at least it's a game that's, while there's still a social element to it, you can't be voted out. It's not fully defined by it. You can lone wolf if you want to approach that game too. Okay,
so it's not about alliances per se.
They can be helpful potentially, but you don't need them.
Okay, all right. I like that. I think I could do that. I might look into one for next summer.
Yeah, I'll send you some after the podcast.
Please do. Please do. Yeah. That would be cool.
I definitely think, like, in terms of going back to like riding off no Survivor ever again, definitely taking a break helps.
Right. Well, I'm doing an org right now that's a Survivor based.
See, you can't stop it. You're addicted.
I can't. I'm like, why am I doing this? I do. Can we talk about Outcast?
Yeah. So briefly before we get to that, Tribal Council. Were you expecting a 7-1 vote?
I thought it'd be on me. I really did, because, like I said, I think the guys got sucked in and didn't see what was happening. They were like, that type 4. They're the most masterful type group of 4 that I have seen in any of the games I've played. They were unbreakable. They were unbreakable, and they knew how to work everyone under them. They were, I'm telling you, Allison, Aliana, Jessica, and Chad were fantastic. There's no other way to put it. They were fantastic. I don't know what happened after the merge, but I saw them as being the final 4, and I figured it would be really hard because there would be no one from the other tribe in the Final Four. That's how good I think they are. They were good at working everyone. But I did know Colby was going next if they lost again.
So you end up receiving 11 votes against you, which you tie for the most for your season. Unfortunately, you have to share your crown with two other players, Jessica and Aliana.
Well, good. That's a good group to be tied with.
So you arrive at the Outcast camp. Talk to me about your arrival.
Well, I walk down the hill and I see these two people down there and I'm like, wait, okay, that's Jay West and Janai. That's cool. I will say, as I was leaving, they didn't give me the option of not going to Outcast.
Would you have gone?
I don't know. I don't know, because I was so disheartened in the whole experience. I don't know if I would have or not. I'm glad they didn't give me the option. I'm glad they sent me there and didn't give me the option. They had given, I know, because then I heard later that they didn't give anybody the option. But it was the best experience I have ever had. I would rather be an outcast than anywhere. It was fantastic.
So you
want to know about it, or you got questions?
What made it so fantastic?
Okay, so I get down there and I realize we're going to live in the same type of environment. We've got to do it ourselves. We've got to live in the wild. And I'm like, yes, I like that part. That I want to do. We've got to make our own fire. We've got to make our own rice. And then we had a handler that not only took care of us, but taught us. And that was nice. Now, most of what he was teaching I already knew. I knew how to make the fire. I knew how to do all sorts of things out there. But he took me and one other person out and showed us moss growing under a tree. And he said, okay, what you do is you peel this up. Look how easy it comes up. And so we peeled it up. And he said, you carry this back and you put it down on the ground and it's a soft bed. Oh, so we did that. And that was something I had never learned before. So it was an amazing experience, just all the stuff that he taught us. And then he set up the tarp in a way that I would have never thought to set it up. It was like, so like this, but then the front part, instead of being flat and tilted like this, he bent it like that. So there was a ledge coming down this way and going back that way. Things I've never thought about. He took and made tripods to attach it to, something I would have never thought of. Then he built, using more wood against the tripod right here, he put all sorts of wood down like this, and it slanted, and he tied them all together and made like a backrest, and we sat on the ground and had a backrest leaning back. I mean, this guy was amazing. And then he had us do all the same challenges that the tribes were doing, but we did it for rewards. That was great. We didn't vote anybody out. We just got to play and have a great time. It was amazing. I like Outcast. It's my favorite flag. That's my favorite tribe ever, right there.
So how was reuniting with Jay West and meeting Janai?
Jay West drove me nuts. Poor Jay West. He got voted out first. And so he had to go through the whole event of his vote out every single time somebody came out. And he had to challenge people and ask them, why did you do this? Why did you? And I was like, Jay West, it's over, baby. It's over. But I loved being with him because I got to see this creative side of him as well, and how social he was and how much fun we had together. And then Janai was amazing. Janai became one of my best friends. I love her. She knows what she's doing in the woods too. And she was just so sweet. And then every time there would be a vote out, we'd look up the hill to see who was coming down the hill. And, there were backlit, so you couldn't see them. And they got closer and closer, and we'd guess who it was. oh man, it's Colby, or oh man, it's so and so. And it was just, and then we'd get to talk and hang out and visit and do the challenges. It was just great. I loved it.
So you mentioned Kobe coming wasn't a surprise, but you also meet Trav and Nina as well.
Uh-huh.
Um,
I like Nina. Trav was very, I don't know if it's his way normally or if it's just the gameplay. He was condescending about everything. First, he came in, he was very upset. He wouldn't talk. That's fine. I understand that. It's intense. I mean, when you get voted out, it's intense. It hurts. And he wouldn't talk to anybody. But then when we were doing challenges and stuff, he was very condescending, very rude. He knew everything, and he didn't, but he knew everything. But Nina now, I really enjoyed getting to know her. And no offense, Trav, I still like you. You were just very condescending. But Nina was really nice. She talked a lot. We talked about her job. We talked about different aspects of different things in games. She was friendly, outgoing, kind, and excited to be there, like I was. And I really enjoyed that. Mm-hmm. So it was good to meet people from the other tribe.
So once the 6 year are all there, you compete in your Outcast Immunity Challenge.
Yes, there were 8 of us, weren't there?
Eventually, but for that challenge, there's only 6. This is where you have to do the breakout with the make fire make. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
I do. That was awful. It was so hot. It was almost as awful as the very first challenge that we did, where we did all the running and I threw up the mayonnaise. But it was very, very hot. There was a bit of a blow up that involved Trav and Janai and Jay West, probably. Yeah, probably. I don't know. Anyway, people were making plans, and basically Trav was relegating the females to have no real role, basically. And it got Janai real wound up. I understand Janai on this. I really do. I've been there. I'm much older now. I don't care. You want to relegate me to something stupid, I'll go do it. I don't care. I'll let you make a fool of yourself. But Janai was like, I can make fire. Well, I can too. And Trav was like, but I'm going to make fire. And Janai says, well, why would you just tell me I can't? You don't know me. And it got really ugly there before we ever started. Really, really ugly. And it carried over into the making of the fire, which was the wind was blowing. It was hot. We couldn't get the spark. It was really, really rough. It was very demoralizing, very physically draining. I felt really bad for several of the people involved. I will say, anytime I tried to do something, I got my head bit off. It was not a pleasant event. And I felt like we really could have done it had we really worked together as a team instead of arguing with each other and fighting with each other. But it's done and over now, you know.
So you don't win the challenge. It's a long, brutal challenge, but you end up not winning. The next person who's going to join you is going to be Andrew. Was that a surprise to you?
No, not at all. There was no surprise coming from the Anata tribe. I could have told you the order. I pretty much knew the order. It's pretty simple.
Were you surprised the fact that Juan played the idol at that point?
Yeah, but I was glad because it was going to be one of the two of them. Andrew's very kind, and he didn't know the game real well. He was very nice, very easy to get along with. I really liked Andrew, but I felt like they kind of just ran over him. He didn't know. He didn't know he didn't know what hit him. I think really, and he got down there. He was very nice, very gracious, and fun to hang out with. But we knew he was coming.
Well, when Andrew arrives, you're gonna win in a reward challenge. You get to go on a field trip.
Yeah, that's right. Because that was he didn't participate in the reward challenge. He showed up. They made us wait till he got there. Yeah, that was so fun. As I'm sure your listeners have already heard all about it.
But not from your
But it was
perspective. Tell us about Walmart.
not from my perspective. We had so much fun. Oh my gosh. Poor Nina. Nina had to have a Diet Coke. And she just, that's all there was to it. She had to have a Diet Coke. And so she saved her $2. Oh, first there was bargaining about, because we didn't win our reward challenge. So we did a lot of bargaining and bartering to try and get our handler to allow us to try again. And so we finally worked out a deal, and we all got $2. And here we are, stinky and greasy hair, and we go in, we look like homeless people. And of course, our handlers were all dressed nice, and they're clean, and they walk us in there. And the first thing we do is we all go to the bathroom, and we're in there washing our faces and washing, as much as we could. And people would walk in and go, oh my gosh, what's going on? And then we come out of there, and we're still looking homeless because we're all bundled up and we stink because we've got to smell like fire and sweat and nastiness. And so we just the boys went straight to some snacks. And I thought, I know that there's some protein in this store that is cheap. And I ran straight. Oh my gosh. So I take off. I didn't know I had to have a handler with me. But I take off. I'm going down the main aisle. I'm walking fast, man. I'm booking it. I know what I'm going for. And I take a right down the cereal aisle, which I just love the cereal aisle. I like Fruity Pebbles. I like Coke, Captain Crunch. I love the cereal aisle. I wasn't gonna buy any, but I just had to go down. So I take a right down, and there's some people looking at some stuff, and I go by them. I'm hoofing it, and I notice them looking at me, and I keep going, and all of a sudden I hear them go, "What is going on?" And I turn around. And one of the handlers is chasing after me. So it looked like I had escaped, and this lady was trying to catch me. And I felt so bad for those people who didn't know what was going on. So anyway, we got down to the hot dogs. And you can get a pack of the cheapest red hot dogs for $1.39. And so I'm like, the boys are up there looking at chocolate pies, little miniature chocolate pies that are like $1. And so I go up and I show them, I got, guys, we can get hot dogs. And there's 8 of these in here. And Janai said, I'll get hot dogs too. And then we look around and somebody says, well, I've got bread. And then, well, I'll get chips. And then, well, let's get some bananas. And so we get to the register and we're ringing it all up. And we're like figuring out there was a bunch of bananas. And I'm like, okay, guys, we went over it. It's like $12.50. So we take off one of the bananas, and take off 2 of the bananas, get it down to like $12.10. And I said, well, we got to take this other banana off. And somebody says, well, what if I go get a lighter weight banana? I said, sure, go get a smaller one. So he took off, ran and got a smaller one, brought it back. I think it was Colby. And then we put it on there, and it was $12.01, and our handlers wouldn't give us any money. So, and we had $12. And I'm sure Jay West has already filled y'all in on what an awesome person he was and how great he did this. He went over to this little family, and he talks to them and tells them, that we need some money. We're 1 penny short, yada, yada, yada. They gave him a dime, and we were able to get all this food for $12.01, and he even took the 9 cents back to him. I was so proud of him. He did such a good job. And so then we're getting ready to go back, and we're in 2 different vehicles, and I could just see some of those guys getting into all the food, and us getting back and us having nothing. So I started hollering, we want one of the bags. We want one of the bags. And so we ended up with one of the bags. We got lost going back. And I said, those boys better have some sticks to grill these hot dogs on. They better have some sticks made, and they better have a good fire going. And we were a good 30, 45 minutes later getting back, because his GPS took us to a new location they had been looking at or something. I thought he was going to kill us. I thought this guy, This guy's a serial killer. Because I knew we weren't in the right place, but I didn't know how to get to where we needed to be. And it was just us 3 girls and him. Like, he's going to kill us all. And he pulls into this church parking lot and he reroutes things. And I'm like, he's going to kill us right here in a church parking lot. So he ends up getting us back on track. And we get back there and we get down there. And the boys have a great fire going. I'm so proud of them. But I look down at the sticks. I've got to plug in my computer. I hope we still have microphone. Hang on. Because something about this thing sometimes messes that up. Can you still hear me?
I can still hear you.
Okay, I can still hear you. That's good. Okay, so we get down there, and oh my gosh, these boys have never cooked anything on a stick over the fire. Their sticks were this long. They were the size of the hot dog. I said, guys, what are you going to do with that? We're going to cook the hot dog. I said, you don't know how to cook a hot dog? So I took, I was hot because I wanted to eat. So I got the machete and I said, Jay West, come with me. And yes, ma'am. So he's following along behind me. And I whack and pull down. I said, we need them this long. We need them this thin. Help me find them. So I was showing him how to find the right kind of sticks. We go out and get all these sticks and bring them back. And then I had to teach the boys how to put the hot dogs on the stick. They didn't know how to do that. And then I had to teach them how to cook it. And Trav said, how long we leave it in? I said, they're pre-cooked. You can eat it whenever, but you want to, most people like them done. So he stuck it in there for all of like maybe 30 seconds and pulled it out and put it on his bread. He goes, this is too cold. I can't eat it. Those boys, they were helpless. So anyway, we all ended up getting 2 hot dogs. They had sliced bread. It was like day-old bread in the bakery. It was wonderful. It was so good. And they would Trav would take the bread and he would put cheese on the bread and any condiments, and then you put your hot dog on it and then you ate it. Now I will say this. One other thing I saw them do when they didn't know what to do was someone tried to put cheese on the hot dog as they were putting it over the fire. Yeah, that didn't work. So anyway, we had a feast and I even gave Nina a hot dog. I said, Nina, you got to have a hot dog. And she said, but I didn't. I said, I don't care. You deserve a hot dog. I'll give you some of my Diet Coke. I said, no, just have a hot dog. So she had a hot dog. We all had 2. And we split the last one 3 ways or something. And it was just, we had a feast and had a great story to come from it. And so much fun. I just don't know how many times or ways to tell you, Stephen, how much I loved Outcast. I'd rather been on Outcast than the Real Tribe from the beginning. It was so fun.
Well, day 5 arrives. Sam joins, and you go to your redemption challenge.
Yes. Redemption challenge was a neat challenge. We had pipes and they were shaped funny. It was like PVC pipes, and one of them had an elbow on it and the other one didn't. And you had to hold it like this, not like this, but like this. And you had to hold a pool cue ball. And the last person standing was the one going back in. I thought it was a great challenge. I thought I was going to do great in it. I was doing great in it. And 2 people dropped and I'm like, man, I could do this for days. This is great. And then my ball fell. I have no idea how or why. I was holding it the same the whole time and that ball just dropped. Boop, that was it. And then I was out. So it was fun. I enjoyed it, but I didn't get to go back.
So we have to do some hypotheticals here. What would you have done had you gone back into the game?
Join it with the Purple Tribe.
Okay.
I'd have flipped in a heartbeat. I would have not gone back and played nice. I'd have said, come on, Purple Tribe, let's do this thing. Let me give you the order I want them picked off.
What would that order be?
Jessica. Honestly, I really think I'd have hit Allison first because I know that she was the leader. It was no doubt in my mind she was the leader. Something about her. I mean, she's good. She's really good. I don't hold any ill will towards these people. They are fantastic players. And I think she was one of the best. Chad was really good, but I don't know how good. I know Allison was amazing. So I'd have gone in there, Allison first, and then the others, it just however it fell.
So did you say in your exit video, or at least the video before you did the challenge, that you would have targeted Aliana first?
I might have. Hey, Aliana, I see what you wrote. I really don't remember. I'm sure I said it. Maybe because you're the one who told me I was going out and the reason why. That's all I can figure. Just because of the reason why. Because, girl, I really liked you.
And so Nina ends up making her way back into the game, and she goes far for the Outcasts as a result.
She did. She did really very well.
Mm-hmm. And so, how was the rest of your post-game experience once you're out of the game and you're no longer in the Outcast tribe?
Here's another thing. I'm glad I didn't make jury. Jury seems like the worst place to be. They were in seclusion. They didn't get to have a whole lot of fun. They didn't, the handlers were watching them so close to make sure that we did not skew their thoughts in any ways. I would not have enjoyed that. I don't know how they made it through it. I would have gone stir crazy, locked in that room the way they were. I know it's part of the game, but I really felt bad for them, and I'm glad I wasn't in that. Yeah, I had a blast. I'm telling you, from the time I got voted out, I had a blast. And we got into the house. We had so much fun. We played games all night long. Just ate and played and had a great time. It was a wonderful experience. If you do Reelfoot, do it. Go for all you can. Go for the win. But be happy no matter what happens, because there's so much fun to be had, period. It's just a great event.
So what is your takeaway from this experience as a whole?
I would love to do it again I'd love to do it again. I think I'd love to do it again. I don't know that I'll get a chance to, but because I'm not going to be on an All-Stars or anything like that. But I think it'd be fun to do it again. I would hope I could do it again. I kind of wish I had waited till another season. I just felt like there were too many people who knew each other already. And
to be fair, though, I think that's a little endemic in live games, that it's a small world, and
it's the community.
Yeah.
It's the community. And I think that's why I don't want to do one. I don't really want to go out and try any other ones. I think I'd like to do Reelfoot again just for the experience of living outside for the 8 days. I think that's why I want to do Barefoot and Afraid so badly. I really want to do that. I've already been training. I haven't done my application video yet, but I've already started training. So that's really my next quest. I really, really want to do Barefoot and Afraid. That's my next quest.
Is there anything else about your game that you want to talk about that maybe we haven't had a chance to dig into?
Not really. I just really liked everybody. I really liked getting to know everybody, and I really like the people personally. I think that they are awesome people personally, and it is a game, and that's all it is a game. And that's why I don't feel like I have any real bad feelings toward the people at all. Just the game. It's not for me, I don't think Survivor's for me. But the people themselves and the experience of the outdoors and the challenges, it was fantastic. Absolutely stinking fantastic. And I loved it. And I recommend Reelfoot to anyone who's ready for a challenge, because it's not easy, but it's fun and it's real. It's Reelfoot.
So I have some final wrap-up questions for you.
Okay.
You ready?
Uh-huh.
What from Reelfoot could you incorporate into your classroom?
Oh, I got it, baby. I've already got it up here on the wall, baby. My kids knew about this. I could not, in clear conscience, give them the link because I knew there would be a lot of language, and there's a lot of stuff that happens on there that I wouldn't want my kids seeing. I wouldn't care about them seeing me so much. I didn't think I would do anything that would cause them or cause me to get in trouble. But It's just the other aspects of it. I don't know. But as far as I'm going to run some challenges, I'm going to have some units that I am pulling the concept of Survivor into. A lot of teachers do that now, and it's pretty easy to find ideas. But we're also going to use the geometry in some of the challenges, like the disc where we threw the beanbags.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to create that and have them study up on the best arc to get it to land, and have them study the arc, the height, the distance, the time, using that formula. So yeah, I'm going to be using this in class, definitely.
Okay, I love that. If you had to eat another jar of mayo again for a challenge, what kind of mayo would you choose?
Please give me Dukes. Dukes all the way. I'm a Southern girl. Give me Dukes. Make sure it's got plenty of eggs in it.
If you could go back in time and give yourself one piece of advice before playing Reelfoot, what would you tell yourself?
That's really a tough one. I don't think I could have done anything different. I really believe that I gave it what I had. I believe that I made the connections I could make. I believe it was just, like you said, luck, bad luck. I don't know. If we'd have won more challenges, I wouldn't have gone home as soon. But I think I gave it all I could, and I really enjoyed it. It was good.
Your season had no swaps. Do you prefer swaps or no swaps in a game you play?
Swaps are really hard because if they're uneven and you're on the downside, it's really hard to stay in the game. If you're on the upside, you're pretty much guaranteed to stay in the game. Mm-hmm. But if it's even, it's even worse, because how do you figure out what to do? I don't really like the drop swaps. Never really have.
Should every fan Survivor game have a redemption or outcast component?
I don't know. I had the best experience there. But most of the time when the person who goes back in, they don't do as well as Nina did.
Well,
I've seen.
The past two seasons of Reelfoot who had redemption, the players who got back in won the game. So
Right. And that, to me, I think that's rare. Based on the real Survivor, the CBS Survivor, mm-hmm. You don't seem to see them make it very far. But yeah, Reelfoot, it's definitely broken that, but mm-hmm. I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure. Well, like for Nina, it was a great thing to get back in. So to have Outcast was wonderful. I just liked Outcast because it was fun.
What was your favorite challenge?
The one that we did, I don't know the name of it, but it's where the balance table with the ball.
The ball mazes.
We did it for reward. I really, really liked that. That was fun. I enjoyed the beanbag toss, that part of the challenge. I really enjoyed that part. I felt like I did really well. It was a fun challenge, holding that thing so tight to keep the disc from moving. But I think the balance table was the one I liked the best.
What was a favorite moment at camp for you?
And not a camp or Outcast camp, or either. Bringing the moss up and putting the moss down and experiencing that, knowing I had learned something new, was just the coolest. It was the coolest. Frank was awesome as a handler.
Who would you have shared the jar of candy with?
I probably would have done the same thing and just say who wants it. I'm glad I said me, because I just like candy. It was great. It was good candy.
Who do you wish you had a chance to work with but didn't have an opportunity to do so from your entire cast?
Brandon. Is that his name?
Yep.
I think I would have liked to work with Brandon. I met him at the after party, mm-hmm. and I really liked him. And the way he handled himself. I just really liked him. I think he would have been great to work with.
Besides yourself, who would you like to see come back and play another season of Reelfoot?
Rob.
Really? Why?
Jason Momoa. Oh yeah, I'd love to see him come back and play. I'd like to see him play against some other people. See how he does. See if he's able to make it.
And if he wins again?
Yeah, I mean, I'd just like to see him. I didn't get to see any of his game, so I don't know how his game was. I know how his physical competition was, but I'd like to see his gameplay. I'd like to know more about that. I think it'd be cool to watch him.
Okay. Well, bro, thank you so much for taking your time again to talk with me. I really appreciate it, and I loved hearing your stories.
Thank you. And to everybody that was in Anata, love you guys. And you guys are really, really good at this game. Really good. And I loved meeting all of you.
Well, this has been, for now, the final interview of all the players from Surviving Reelfoot First Fire. If you want to watch 32 plus hours of content, never fear. You can find all of these on YouTube and soon to be uploaded to podcasts near you as well. So thank you all for listening. Thank you, Deb. Thank you, or Bruh. Thank you, all the players for talking with me. I had a blast, and hopefully, I hope this gives your season more longevity, and I am excited for when episodes do drop, whenever they do.
Me too. I can't wait to see them.
So thank you all for tuning in. This has been another episode of Live Rally Game Podcast. Have a great rest of your evening.